The Shorter Than Short Mike DJ Kelly Podcast. This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.
So here we go with another cram-packed audio adventure that's all squeezed and stuffed into what we call the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short Podcast. But wait, this one's going to be more challenging than ever, as we're not allowed to make any political comments, good or bad. More on this later. So pull back the rubber band, insert the ball bearing, and let's crack on and press the start button. Let's get going. It's the busy spring of 2021 as everyone eagerly awaits the unlocking of lockdown and going out and eating and drinking al fresco style. Yes, it's Britain in April. Tables in beer gardens are fully booked. Better take an anorak or a gagool and maybe a hot water bottle. As we say, don't blame me, blame lockdown.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast. On this week's podcast.
Coming up on this Shorter Than Short podcast, the census, travellers, smarter motorways, utility point, Twix bars, teachers' names, bumblebees, and a whole lot more.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Did you do the census on Sunday, 21st of March? 10 minutes it said it would take, but then it asked you for your work address postcode. Who the heck knows that? What a boring set of questions. They could have asked so much more. What TV channels / shows do you watch? What newspaper? How many cars? What supermarket? Etc. etc. Have you seen the new Highway Agency TV commercial? The official film shows a pair of singing flies in costumes urging a driver to go left with the Pet Shop Boys Go West song in case they get into a bit of bother in their car on a smart motorway. We could at this point question the use of the word smart motorway to describe a motorway with no hard shoulder. But perhaps more importantly, we should look at the driver in the car of this new safety campaign. I've tried to search the name of the actor-driver, but have failed. But he does look very much like one of the two coppers in the Haribo adverts. They're sat at the side of the road in a police car, eating sweets and talking in squeaky children's voices. And talking of flies on windscreens, I passed a motorbike with a windscreen this morning. You don't see very many of those often these days. Not sure if it was an old one or a new one. Certainly police aerial motorbikes circa 1960, heartbeat era had them.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
If you want to send your own stories for the next episode, email hello@mikedjkelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. Don't forget to tell us a bit about yourselves so we know who you are.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Competition time and guess the song. What song are these lines from? When you first left me, I didn't know what to say. I've never been on my own that way. I just sat by myself all day. Name the song or the artiste or both. Those lines again. When you first left me, I didn't know what to say. I've never been on my own that way. Just sat by myself all day. Name the song or the artiste or both.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
Just had to renegotiate my energy tariff with Utility Point. Their customer service is shambolic, especially if you want to talk to them. But why, with all suppliers, is electricity so much more expensive than gas? After all, it's so much easier to make and supply than gas. At school, we had a teacher called Mr. Bates. Bet you can guess what smutty name everyone called him. Out there on Twitter, very British pro, all you need is love and biscuits. Kazaroo, anything can be celebrated with a pork pie. Giles Paley Phillips. For anyone in the UK, if you text SHOUT to 85258 when you're in a dark place or suicidal, a trained crisis volunteer will text you back. This is great if you find talking on the phone challenging. It is completely free 24/7. Please RT, you never know who might need this support. Katie Piper? Anyone else questioning why we still have gambling adverts on TV?
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
My source of chocolate bars is normally from Fulton's, and they had some white wrapped Twixes on display, so I got 4 for £1. It was only when eating one I felt the urge to read the wrapper to see what this strange thing was that I was eating. Twix Winter Spice. Who'd have thought that was a good idea? Talking of good ideas, whose idea was it to put loudmouth chef Gordon Ramsay on a quiz show called Bank Balances? And whose idea was it to call an arts TV show Drawers Off? We could at this point question why the MASH report has been axed, but due to local elections and me reading the news most weeks on BCB 106.6 FM, I'm not allowed to comment on political things until the results are in. Otherwise, people might think I favour one candidate stroke party over another, not even allowed to say anything on social media. And just a quick social media point, is it now a little late in the day for people to be posting pictures of themselves going for or having the jab? Now that so many have had theirs, has it become a non-event? If you are a regular Shorter Than Short listener, you will know I'm not a happy radio listener, as there is so much rubbish out there. Have to say that the now available DAB radio station BOOM, Boom, is pretty good, and I find myself remaining tuned to it without having been driven to look for something better. The presenters in the main are very good and talk as if they're allowed to choose what to talk about. Well, apart from the scripted Boom shopping bits, and you certainly hear songs that you do not hear elsewhere. Boom launched originally on Valentine's Day, which reminds me of all those awful adverts that were on the TV and radio for that particular event, especially the advert for hand-cut flowers. What other type are there?
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
When watching Homes Under the Hammer recently, a couple in Stoke bought a house and changed the use to a commercial bakery. As part of the deal, the council made them fit an air purifying system so no smells escape into the air from the bakery. According to the programme, new rules mean all commercial premises now need to do this. So here we come, 2021, the world without smells. No odour of fish and chips, curry, bread. I wonder if they'll make it so commercial lawn cutters have to do it without the smell of freshly mown grass.
This is the Shorter Than Short Podcast with Mike Kelly.
This week's do-gooders can be found at bumblebeeconservation.org. The Bumblebee Conservation Trust was established because of serious concerns about the plight of the bumblebee. In the last 80 years, our bumblebee populations have crashed. 2 species have become nationally extinct, and several others have declined dramatically. Bumblebees are familiar and much-loved insects that pollinate our crops and wildflowers, so people are rightly worried. They have a vision to create a world where bumblebees are thriving and valued. This mission is to increase the number and distribution of bumblebees. A growing number of committed supporters are helping our team of staff to make a big difference. They're working towards 4 main aims. 1. Enhance the understanding of bumblebee ecology and conservation. 2. Increase the quality and quantity of bumblebee habitat. 3. Inspire and enable a diverse range of people to take action for bumblebees. 4. Be an effective and sustainable organisation. Find out more or how to get involved at bumblebeeconservation.org.
This is the Shorter Than Short Podcast with Mike Kelly.
What do Susan Boyle, Philip Schofield, Chris Evans, Ronnie Lane, Annie Nightingale, Simon Jack and a certain clumsy politician have in common? Yes, you're correct. They're all born on the 1st of April. Not been a good few weeks for the royal family. They're starting to look a bit disjointed and not a happy bunch, as if they would be bothered what I think. However, feeling smug but without the wealth in my own surrounds. came across an advert in a newspaper for the vision-focused glasses at nearly 50 quid. They are described as revolutionary reading glasses that you can alter the focus on by twisting a discrete knob on each arm of the glasses. Found the same thing for only £4.97 including postage on eBay. They arrived and looked like something Professor Berenda out of Thunderbirds might wear. They're very plastic and double lens. Tried them to see if they worked better than they looked. Total garbage and in the bin within 5 minutes of being delivered. Mentioning Professor Berenda did remind me of something else on my list of notes. When I was in my teens, there were often stories in the papers about people inventing ways to change water into petrol and being paid large amounts by petrol companies to stop it ever happening. Professor Berenda, if I remember correctly, was a scientist who helped develop a revolutionary new rocket fuel made from seawater. He and his fellow scientist and project collaborator, Sir Jeremy Hodge, both appear in The Perils of Penelope.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Quotes and cuts of this show may be used, but remember all material has to be got from somewhere and somebody has to put some effort into getting it to you. So please credit us and send a cheque or buy us a coffee. That's the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast. If you're not sure where to find the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast, just Google it.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Out there on Twitter, Phil Kirby, Peter Lorimer, never saw him play, but spent many a happy Saturday afternoon in the commercial with my dad and Uncle Tommy chatting to him while he pulled pints of Guinness. JP Devlin, family Zoom tonight when I'll be shaving off my beard, might pitch this to the BBC as a Saturday night entertainment show hosted by me, where big beards get shaved off. I'll call it The Beard. Anton Deck, watch out. Sarah, people who arrange their books based on spine colour need to have a serious word with themselves.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Guess the celebrity with the middle name of Patrick. He was born in Basford, Nottingham, on the 25th of April 1932. He's listed in the Guinness World Records as the longest service male television star in a continuous role, having played the same part since the 9th of December 1960. He appeared on Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes as Perry Como singing Catch a Falling Star. In September and October 2005, he appeared as a celebrity contestant in Anton Deck's game show Marathon. Who is he? Do you think any of the current mask-wearing issues could be caused by TV programmes like Emmerdale, where as soon as they come into a house, shop, pub or restaurant, they take their mask off, and when they get up to leave and go outside, they put their masks on? Do you think it's rubbing off on the viewers? I keep seeing people wearing masks on streets, and some in shops not wearing them at all.
This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
Fake Showbiz News at FSN on Twitter. Paul McCartney says he's only just realised the word Beatles is spelt completely wrong in his band's name. Probably a bit late to change it now, he laughed. Hugh Edwards handed a 6-month suspension by BBC bosses after being found guilty of sneaking Robbie Williams song titles into his bulletin scripts. I've got no regrets, he told reporters. Emily Blunt says she's not sure if anyone's done this, but if you're a sports reporter covering a footy match where a team's been roundly thrashed, you could say something like, the defenders appear to be practising socially distancing.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Tell you what, you don't hear the word flatulence used as much these days as it used to be. Maybe we're all eating better, or maybe lockdown means we're not seeing those who suffer from passing gas from the digestive system out of the back passage. It's more commonly known as passing wind, or no, I don't think we'll go there.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
And the news you may have missed. The UK Embroidery Guild is having a bitter internal row as they try to save the 115-year-old establishment from liquidation. Interesting that Puntins, the high-class holiday emporium, has kept a secret list of Irish family names that are barred from booking stays at their resorts in case they are travellers and looking to cause trouble. Daft Punk, the French duo To Go Different Ways. Okay, I'll say that one more time. No, I will not. Don't forget, Podpickers, if you want to get in touch with the show about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use the following to contact us. And if you have stories, gossips, jokes, or anything for the next episode, email hello@mikedjkelly.co.uk, Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. If you have time, it would be appreciated if you give us a review on any feedback sites. Just bought a new 43-inch telly as recommended by The Gadget Show and Mr. Bentley. Very nice, does everything and more than the last one, and it's much bigger. What worried me when I took it out of the box was that I'd need help due to the size and weight, but it turns out the 43-inch is about half the weight of the late 32-inch telly. Which in turn reminds me of my son's first £5 from a friend 40-inch flat screen telly, so heavy it needed at least 2 adults to carry it. And talking of telly, the weather forecaster yesterday said, and this is in March, the warmest day of the year so far. I'm guessing for the next few months they can use that line. David Attenborough recently presented a TV programme about animals and their sight, telling us that's what we see and this is what they can see. How does he know this? Is it true, or is it just another hour of TV? Well, when you say an hour or half an hour of TV, it depends what channel you're watching. I was listening to a scriptwriter talking about his work, and he said that he prefers to do half-hour shows on the BBC as it gives you 28 minutes of script time, enough to develop a plot or story. Whereas on commercial channels, a 30-minute show is 23 minutes of script time and not enough time to fit the story in. He said some writers preferred the 23-minute shorter show as it was less work to do for the same money.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
And the late news, R.I.P. to Dutchman Louis Ottens, who invented the cassette tape and had a great deal to do with inventing the CD. Also R.I.P. to Murray Walker, the voice of F1, and more importantly in 1959 came up with the slogan "A Mars a day helps you to work, rest and play" when he worked in advertising before taking up the commentary mic. R.I.P. to the Ford Mondeo and to Mondeo Man. I see Bonnie Prince Charlie has been over to Greece for the celebrations. No travel bans for him during lockdown then. Got held up on my way home from work last night at 11 p.m. by a milkman who'd blocked the road while delivering milk. Okay on a cold spring evening, but I imagine on a Billy Idol, yes, a hot summer's night, things might start to curdle.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
If you want to get in touch with this top-rated and sometimes much listened to podcast, please contact email hello@mikedjkelly.co.uk, on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. Indeed, if you want a podcast making for your business or need any help with radio producer or presentation work, travel news, voiceovers, etc., please get in touch. Please tell your friends about the podcast. All they need to do to find it is search on Google for Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast. Okay, time to go. Guess the song. What song are these lines from? When you first left me, I didn't know what to say. I've never been on my own that way. Just sat by myself all day. Name the song or the artist or both. It was Lily Allen and Smile. Guess the celebrity with the middle name of Patrick. He was born in Basford, Nottingham, on the 25th of April 1932. He is listed in the Guinness World Records as the longest-serving male TV star in a continuous role, having played the same part since the 9th of December 1960. He appeared on Celebrity Stars in Their Eyes as Perry Como, singing the song Catch a Falling Star. In September and October 2005, he appeared as a celebrity contestant in Anton Deck's game show Marathon. Who is he? William Patrick Roach. Guess what? Don't blame me, blame lockdown or the tag on my ankle. That's enough for this edition of the crazy, shorter than short, shabby podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly, thank you for listening. Please take care out there. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting Mike DJ Kelly Podcast.
This is the Mike DJ Kelly podcast. This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
Mike Kelly.